What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Jinx Did Nothing Wrong, and I wanted to do a fun video because I just saw Spicy Toast's video about the Lissandra challenge, how he feels about this thing, and like how does it feel to do this fight. I kind of want to go into the fight itself and kind of do comparisons. So you're not seeing a Poro King thing. Wait, did they change this already? Oh no, they haven't changed it. Yay, I can still BS it. Anyway, let's just go into here because obviously I'm not going to be able to win with the Poro King right now. And I do want to kind of compare it to the Asol fight because for a long time that was the other fight that we had to do. That was the one that you spammed. And I know for a fact, just for, you know what, let's go quickly into the Asol fight just for a quick comparison. And then hopefully I can win one fight and then reset things here. And just for a comparison, right? So stop it. The standard of what we're used to playing in POC. The standard that we're used to playing in POC is definitely like you have powers. Some of these, I think this is power, but this is a champion thing. And this is another power. This is another power. So just from the rip, you're getting 3 powers. And I think that depending on the route that you take in Lissandra's fight, you're limited to how many powers that you have. Also, any of the shops that you play into don't have powers. Each of these fights, I think like here you get a champion, additional champion thing, and then also here you get another champion thing. You can also find them scattered throughout the playthrough, which is pretty cool as well. And then you have the cool thing, which I think is similar to in Lissandra's run. This is a fight, this is a fight, and then you have to do a triple fight into the Asol run, and you pretty much have to be prepared. You pretty much got to be cooking by around here-ish, right? Like around here, once you go into this fight, you have to beat this fight, get all your HP back, and then you're good to go. Now, when it comes down to Lissandra, which I do find really strange, is that in Lissandra's fight, and her whole run is, when I say fight, but I'm talking about the run itself, it's done a little bit differently, and in some ways, I can see why some people are a little bit upset about how it goes. I find that most of this is fair. I don't mind. I saw that some people made comments as far as like you don't know the path that you're taking. And in most roguelikes, and this is how I have to compare this, is to roguelikes, especially like card-based roguelikes. I like to play a lot of them. So I think that it's fair. Like I don't know who's here. I know when I go here, I can only see here and a little bit further out. I can't see anything further. What they do in like I'm immature. Like Slay the Spire, you can basically see the entirety of the run, and you can make a full educated like guess path of where you want to go based on that. You can see the entire run. In this one, you really don't. So like this one, if I beat Ezreal, as you can see here, I have to somehow find out how I'm gonna fight Ash, and then even further down the road, I need to figure out how I'm gonna beat this Darius, right? And then even further down the road, there's gonna be 2 a-holes here, and I don't know how the heck I'm gonna fight them. And then eventually I get Asol, who I can see their powers at. So that's one change that I do think that they could potentially make, to make that you're having a way more choice. You have way more choice in the matter of what you're actually picking and what you're planning on doing. So that in here is not as bad because you have way more options of what's going on. Now let's go to the belly of the beast. I do like this. So you get to pick your champion and your power. I would fathom to say it should be reversed. I'll say that first right out the gate. You should pick a power first that's going to synergize with your character, and then once you know what your power is, then you can pick a champion that synergizes with that power. You could obviously say it should be the other way. You pick a champion and then you try to find a power that synergizes with your champion that you picked here and the champion that you brought in. That's neither here nor there, I guess, but I feel like it should be reversed. You guys let me know in the comment section how you guys feel. And as you can see here, as far as like the fights here, so you have 3 different paths that you can take. As you guys know, it's the upper path, the middle path, and the low path. We see that there's a bunch of reds here, but from what I can also tell is that doing the reds here don't necessarily give you something. Maybe I could do a quick run within this recording, obviously off the recording, but in the video, and go down here. If I remember correctly, you don't really get anything else by doing this outside of 2 additional powers in comparison to this run where you just go through this, you get 1 power here, right? And then you're good to go, and then you also get 1 power here and then 2 here. So the top route to me is usually better because you only have to deal with 1 red. It's just that we all know that this red is the Howling Abyss. It doesn't change. A lot of the fights, some of the fights are standardized to where they are, like especially some of the locations of stuff. So like the Mind Meld and things, which is actually, in my opinion, it's better that you do know where they are. I have gone the bottom path and also ran into the Ethereal Remitter, And I was like, wait, I thought he was only up here, which I think that it should be something of that nature where it's like they're trying to cook into something where it's like you have to pick and choose what you want to do. Like when I want to make a very small deck, there was never really a possibility to do that outside of an absolute whim. So I do like that. I do think that that's a good thing that you can say, hey, at one point, if anything, maybe you can even have it like earlier, that you can then slim your deck down and make it more refined. Because with this challenge of what this thing is like pretty much the way that I see most people's Lissandra runs is that the first 2-ish battles are very difficult. They're very, very difficult because you basically started off with like not much, and depending on what role here, actually let me just go, I just want to see something real quick and just show this off. This is also random. I think that I've seen people talk about this too, and I do agree that the gold that you get here is random and it's weird. Sometimes I've gotten that it's purple, so I get the 300 gold, and sometimes it's 200, as you can see now, because it's blue, and then if it's green you just get 100, which the problem that I saw, and I do agree with, it makes that this is random. What you can afford here is not always going to be the same thing. So if I got 300, obviously I'd have 660. You know, I'd have a little bit more gold. There's also, if you take an augment in that gives you more gold, you can even enhance that a little bit more. But it's just a really strange aspect that you can't like afford what you kind of want to, right? It's kind of random to what you're going to be able to afford in comparison to the other thing. I'm just buying random stuff here. This is a great card. I don't know if I'll even be able to finish a run. It'll probably die, but that could be interesting. Super say, okay, I'm like having fun already. I'm not supposed to be having fun. All right, so what's crazy about this, right? Not even only, but the biggest issue that I have with this run, right, is that some of these combinations are absolutely destruction. Like it's the same thing with in Asol run. There's a couple of combinations that are really strong, like some people like perfected mana flow on certain of them, duplicate on certain of them, you know, and then you could get around here-ish and then like you would just be screwed, right? And you'd be like, ah, crap, I went to this path. Like these paths are locking. If I go up here, as you can see, there's nothing that lets me go back down. I am stuck on this top path, and if I run into a fight that completely counters my thing, I just end up losing. And I don't know, like I feel like that's just like really, it feels crappy. Like this is supposed to alleviate that, which is the beginning of the fight, right? So I feel like at the same time that there should be something that make this part should make it that the first 2 fights are not too crazy, right? And you could say that maybe it is. You get your champion first, you get your power first, you get a few extra gold, you get a shop. Only 1 power. I feel like it should be only like maybe 2. You should be really strong in the beginning. If this is supposed to be a challenge, the 5-star aspect of this challenge that makes this challenge supposedly harder than Lissandra is not necessarily like it's harder. It's just like the RNG is even crazier, right? So like, what is this? At last they awaken. This is nothing. Their decks, though, I will say that their decks are way more refined. I do like, and also I guess sometimes I hate. I didn't actually roll him. I was kind of hoping to roll him. The troll scavenger, that needs to be taken out. That is the most annoying, frustrating fight I think that they ever put into the game. I think it's just, it doesn't matter what the second part is. It's because they take your cards that you invested onto and then add another thing that your card doesn't even have, and yeah, that type of nabbing is just annoying. So like here, as you can see, the champion item chest is here, so boom, I can get a champion thing, but I might not get another champion thing, and then I'm stuck going this route, which I might not necessarily want to go this route, right? I might want to go down here and potentially gamble on 2 powers, but that might not be as good as me going up here. You know, like, so it's just like, it's a random run. I feel like other roguelikes do this aspect a little bit better, where it doesn't feel as random or sporadic, right? Because I can't do this fight because of, like, let's say Runeterra Shaman, my thing, I can't do it. I can't take this path. Even if I want to go this path, I can't take it because of this fight, and depending on what they are. What is this? Frost Gather. It's not the worst thing in the world. All units are vulnerable. Kind of a piece, you know, kind of annoying, right? Depending on your unit that you're bringing in. This one, grant the thing top. This one's gross. This one's actually kind of gross, right? Because they get a very strong unit, its stats are doubled, and then it's also fearsome. So literally the first unit that they play can be so unbelievably strong, and actually could have 40 attack and then actually blow you out of the water if you don't have a fearsome blocker. You know what? I'm actually curious if I get screwed here. And then I still ended up losing anyway because he then played a thing with Challenger. And like these decks are made magnificently. Can't even be really mad about it. but I didn't have enough answers. I don't have enough mana. I only have one fearsome blocker. Unfortunately, that fearsome blocker then got pulled to the side. I can only remove one of the units, so I can't. I mean, my Poor King is very low level, right? I had no intention to think that I would win this fight anyway. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. And then boom, you lose your run. You're like, well, that was definitely not interesting or fun at all. And once you've already beaten, you already beat the 5 times, what is the incentive to do that? The only incentive that I have even to continually play POC is just to level up my characters and try fun builds. I know some people like to do very strong, overpowered stuff. Like I see people, they'll suggest me something, and I'll be like, well, I mean, yeah, like that that definitely works. I know it works. But I try to figure out fun stuff, like Aatrox with the triple belt. Like that's not practical, but it's just fun. It's a fun little concept. I even try to do something like that. I mess around. I like to have fun. So for me, it's interesting to try to do things there. But right now, I think technically you're going to end up with more fun in an Asol run because you're getting more powers. You're getting way more overpowered. You're getting way more fun, interesting things that you can actually do. See, look, I'm just doing a quick run again. This time I got 200 gold, 100 gold instead of 200. Throughout my years of content creating, I have seen, and not just Runeterra or League or TFT, I do a lot of mobile game stuff too. And I've noticed that there's sometimes where people don't like things to be strong, or if they're too good, they don't like it to be too good. I think that there's a healthy balance here that you could at least have fun making something strong enough, and once it's strong enough, you have a lot of time to have fun. And then yeah, sometimes you went to the Asol run and you died, right? So I don't mind getting here, struggling. Like sometimes Orin gets out of control, like he gets insanely out of control. Trundle, I don't think you can lose to him if you tried. Anivia is pretty strong, I'll say that. But like sometimes you get into the run, you have to play damn near perfectly, right? And if you don't play perfectly or you don't have a really good build, you just end up losing, which I think that's where I feel like where this challenge kind of messes up, right? Like, how perfect do you need something that is RNG based to go in your favor to win? Their deck is perfectly fine. You know, like even her AI, this one is Frost Gathers. Lissandra's AI, and I've said this multiple times during my run, her AI is completely different when she has I Am Inevitable. She is way more likely to just use her AI turns from Ice Shard when their enemies are low on HP to Ice Shard to boost damage. Like the AI is completely different. Like completely different. Even the AI, I'm trying to see if there's someone here that has I Am Inevitable. There we go. They have that. They'll do attacks where they know that their unit will trade. Like they'll survive the damage, so they'll survive so they can get the tough and the +2/+2. So there's really good AI here. Sometimes, as you guys seen, you can manipulate the AI still. If that's theirs is also a pretty interesting fight too, because if you don't have something that can do some good damage or outlast their onslaught, that onslaught of them spamming skills, spamming cards, that even some like the Revna that gets another card that is then reduced by 6. Like this fight is crazy. It's really interesting, and I think it's a really good tell of how interesting and how cool some of the fights could be. Another thing that I think that needs to happen with the Lissandra challenge is that it needs to have more than just a Lissandra challenge. I think that this is okay. There's definitely improvements that I've already mentioned, but why not have a little bit more? I think that they could be introducing more challenges of higher levels of multiple difficulties more often, right? I think that the problem is that we all know that this Lissandra challenge is going to be what we'll be banging our heads against for months, and I think that that's kind of like the problem. Like, do you guys really honestly want to see people struggle in this fight or beat it effortlessly if they get a really good run? And for months, I know Asol obviously was there for a long time. The monthly challenge still has Asol fragments, which is obviously a great thing for people that are just getting in. If my friend really likes the state of Path of Champions, he'll just do this. Like he'll do this, and eventually he would have been had his Asol. But I do think, why not have this switch to Nora? Why not have this switch to other champions? Like for me, and it doesn't have to just be Asol, right? Like if let's say you can fully deal a champion, they already have their monetization, by the way, is already switched to, and I might as well throw this in this video as well. The monetization of POC is going to be in these packs. This is where the monetization of POC is going 100%. You got enough shards to play the new character that they added into the champion thing, Nora. They made a exclusive thing for her, right? This is an exclusive thing that only she has. It works with her. You can use it on other people that created units or whatever, but you need in order to get the other benefit of it. So this is where it's going to be coming, right? So they should be dropping way more champions, right? Way more things like that. Another thing that I spend my like gold or money on, nope, not that crap. These getting extra shards out of the shop. So that's maybe why they don't do it, because this is how I personally have been getting a little bit more of my shards. Oh, condenser. Create a 1-cost copy of my, oh yes. This is where like my little monies go. Just not that. If like I said, if I do a Ringler's Lantern thing, but I like to buy these. So like that's where I've been putting like 30-40 bucks every once in a while to get these. I'm not buying skins. I'm not buying emotes. And I've said this before, Path of Champions, as far as a deck building roguelike, is really ahead of a lot of them, right? Most of these deck building things don't have this many champions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, what does it tell you here? Okay, I was about to have to count. 53 champions. That is 53 unique like characters to go into a run with, right? Go into a run with a certain build that you start off with, and to do like a lot of cool stuff. I like roguelikes. I'm actually thinking about making a roguelike channel, like just so where a channel where I play other roguelikes, because I honestly think that it is fun. You get to think on your toes, but sometimes they get a little bit wonky, I'm not gonna lie. And I think that it would be really interesting just to see like just adding more content. They already have the champions in the regular mode, right? And they can make more egregious stuff. Like Poro King is a really good example, because he has like, there's like 3 to 4 different, like, no, there's technically 2, like POC exclusive cards. We already start with this card, which is not in the regular game. That's why it doesn't have an icon down there. There's another one called Poro Party. So there's two cards that are POC exclusive cards. And there's also like, I think technically like the Bando Exchange, which is not a Poro card, but it's just funny to think of it like that. But there's really unique stuff, and these starting decks are what they're gonna do. They're going to be doing this soon enough, but I do think that we have to give them our feedback, and us giving our feedback is going to make this better. So I think at the end of the day, I don't want this video to be super long, but at the end of the day, I do think that they just need to tweak this run about like how the RNG exactly works. I think that they just need to make it a little bit more reasonable. Make the decks, I don't think that they need to change the decks outside of the Troll Scavenger. The Troll Scavenger 100% needs to be changed. Nabbing my invested units and taking that is just frustrating. It doesn't feel like a challenge. It's just very frustrating. I'm thinking I'm interested in Slay the Spire-esque, where you can see the entirety of the run. You can click on each thing, know what that is, and then go towards that purposely. You don't need to show the fight itself, like this is Zephyr Sage, this is Starlight Seer. I can understand maybe not showing what that fight is if you still want to keep that as a mystery, but let me know what these are, especially in these higher end runs, because if I know that I'm going to be able to get 2 or 3 champion items on the middle path, I'll take the middle path knowing that I'll do that, and then I can somewhat suffer through a really unfair, quote unquote unfair fight. Then at least I can get 2 champions, and that's the kind of the build that I'm trying to go through. I'm trying to do that specifically. Like I use Slay the Spire as a really good example, because at least you can see that, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna fight 2 elites, but when you fight an elite, you get a relic. So with the relic, that's really good. So I'll take the risk early with harder fights in order to get a way better outcome later. These fights are like, I just know that I can go down here at any time, but I don't know what I'm getting along the way. I have no idea what I'm getting along the way, so I don't know if it's even worth it to go for the double powers if I'm not gonna get a heal somewhere along the line. Like maybe I can take a risk here if I know that there's a heal here, or I want to remove cards from my deck because I'm going something wonky. It really hurts a person like me when I want to do a certain build in mine, and I want a champion item chest because I want to do something more based on my champions, but I can't, or I don't know if I should, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that based on this middle path, right? I have no idea if I can do that until I start going this path, and then I'm basically crafting what I wanted to do, but it's not like the full length of it. I feel like when you play other roguelikes, you have a weird, funny, quirky build in mind and you can kind of dive fully into it, I feel like you can't do that too much in POC, and I feel like that's the big change that I would like to see them, to give the player a little bit more control over what they're going for. Oh yeah, I forgot one magical thing, and that's yeah, I just did a quick run and I lost because I didn't draw Jinx. Since you don't have as many opportunities to get more champions or copies of champions in your deck, it then becomes like really flooded, and this is still a 50-50 shot. This is one of the biggest things in any other run, while you pretty much will start drawing the champion that you're investing in. Even if I wanted to invest in Kale in this scenario, I drew Kale obviously instead of Jinx, and I didn't see Jinx, and then I lost this fight. It also happens to be, like I said, I ran into a fight that's I'm inevitable, making it extremely hard for Jinx to actually win the fight. So I was trying to get to this, and I probably won't be able to do it, but it's just basically I wanted to just talk about that. Like, that is another thing that they need to change. They need to allow you to pump up your deck a lot more. Allowing you to pump up your deck a lot more with stuff will make the fight will make the run not only more fun, more interesting, but it will feel like I lost because I made a mistake, and not because I didn't get my champion, not because I didn't get enough opportunities to put stuff in my deck. Like, the base decks of most of the characters in the game are cheeks, and they're intentionally cheeks because they know that you're getting random items on certain stuff. Like, this has Targon's Brace, this has Quick Attack, and they know that happens, so they try to make it, but most of the starter decks for most of the units are bad. I think that was one other thing that I wanted to mention. The Asol run has. The Asol run, I feel like you have so much opportunities to make your deck and your champion powerful. Meanwhile, in the Lissandra run, they're trying to give you limited resources to do it. So that's what's supposed to make it harder, that they're just stronger than you innately. They're stronger than you, and you're trying to really not make too many mistakes in order, and then if you lose, if you make like 1 or 2 mistakes, which to me seems off, unless you're purposely trying to make it harder for yourself. Hopefully I explained myself good enough. I probably talked in a bunch of circles. Hopefully you like those circles, and yeah. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.